some others. So interesting developments, some of them topical today. And some of you all have heard me talk about this, but I think this should be an outrage, really, to every tax-paying citizen. We're talking about the Inflation Reduction Act, which is almost 2 years old as of this August. And it also, I noticed in the president's schedule that he was getting briefed on the Inflation Reduction Act, so I'm sure he got this briefing while he was being briefed on the Inflation Reduction Act, which we have renamed Invest in Radical Activities Act, because that's what this is about. So we've really been digging into who is getting these massive amounts of grants through the EPA. There's $3 billion in the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA, that will go for different climate kind of buckets. And in our investigation, we found that a lot of this money that's going out really has little to do with the environment and a lot to do with funding groups that are basically engaged in what I characterize as anti-American activities. They're anti-American, anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, anti-police, and anti-border security. So the first one I'm going to go to is, and before I do that, I'm also going to say that Vice President Harris, who is now the nominee for the Democrat presidential race, is quoted here. "I've put equity at the center of our nation's largest investment in climate in history to reach the organizations that know their community best." That's what she said when they rolled out and actually named these organizations. And interestingly, today, there was a news article today saying that the green groups have now formed a coalition today, and guess who they're endorsing for president? Vice President Harris. So let's go over to the following one. I say follow the money because I think that's where you find out. The first one is climate justice. It's up on the top right-hand bar. They're $100 million. They have glorified Hamas in a lot of their social media, on their websites and other things. And they think Israel has no right to exist. They're getting $100 million. This is a direct grant to them. The next one is the NDN Collective. Do you know them? Yes, they're a partner. Yes, they, on their social media, call the United States a so-called country, and also call for the defunding of the police and our United States military. Imagine that in these times right now. Next, we have two New York and New Jersey coalitions that are getting $50 million. They're actually going to be participating in granting $50 million. Their quotes are, "The border and concept of citizenship is racist, and wants no collaboration with federal immigration officials, and the ICE agenda is racist as well." Then we have the social and environmental entrepreneurs, $50 million. Again, abolish police, abolish prisons. The latest one, and those previous ones I'm talking about were all announced in December by the Vice President and named on the EPA's materials as they rolled them out through the press. The Ella Baker Center for Human Rights, the most recent funding was announced last week, is getting between $1 and $3 million, and they are actively advocating to defund police, decriminalize shoplifting, and abolish our prisons. So I think that that this uncovers quite a bit of the $3 billion. We're up to $200 million, actually a little bit more than that, if you count everything all in. And this is just the lack of accountability. The administrator of the EPA has been questioned about this. He says the money hasn't gone out. That was their first thing. Well, they haven't gotten the money yet. Now they're saying, well, we don't check out the partner organizations. So this NDN would be a partner organization as opposed to an actual grantee. So why aren't you vetting these people? I mean, this is taxpayers' dollars. And what do they have to do with telling people how to live and cope better and clean up their environment? So I think that we need to know that these are appalling to me and to many of us who work hard to make sure that we're not just paying our taxes, but we're also making sure that we're making good investments from the federal government. So what are we doing about it? Well, we're shining a light on it and urging the EPA to not disperse this money. And coincidentally, they haven't dispersed all of this money yet, so we'll see what happens. I pushed in the Appropriations Committee for more money for the EPA Inspector General, somebody to follow the money within the EPA, because they know best. An Inspector General would be able to do that. And then I think the most important thing is when we take control of Congress after January, we will be able to defund a lot of this, but we also be able to follow it and do much more oversight. So I'm going to turn it over to my friend from Nebraska and see his perspective on this.
Well, thank you, Senator Capito, for highlighting this and showing some transparency and some sunlight on what's